There's a lot going on with T-Mobile, so let's go ahead and talk about T-Mobile and what it actually means for you and me because there's a lot being lost in translation. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to the program. My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist, and this is John Crump News, where we discuss 2A every day. If you want to do me a huge favor, and I know you do, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I know this video is coming out a little bit late because I've been doing a lot of research on it. Okay, so let's just jump into today's story, and it involves T-Mobile. Jared did a video a little bit earlier on, and we've been talking and sharing information a little bit. He's been dealing with customer support, trying to get something out of them. I've been dealing with media relations and inside sources. So let's go ahead and talk about what is happening over at T-Mobile. Headlines broke today, and it threw the gun world into a tizzy because people think that T-Mobile is going to censor 2A text messages. And they are, but not for you or me. Peer to peer text messages, SMS, or whatever type of text messages you send, because there's multiple different types of text messages, would not be touched. Peer to peer, fine. Who is being affected is companies like Vonage and bandwidth.com and the third parties that use them to send text messages. So let's go ahead and talk about how text messages are sent from a company. Let's say you are a Brownells or a Midway and you want to send out a text message about a sale to your customers. You don't send it out directly. You have a provider, and usually those providers have another service, and that service goes to T-Mobile. So let's say Brownells go to Company A goes to bandwidth.com or Vonage, then Vonage goes to T-Mobile to send out those text messages. Well, T-Mobile is releasing a new TOS, terms of service, that will put fines on companies doing stuff that they do not like. And Vonage and bandwidth.com is going to pass along these fines because Vonage and bandwidth.com and other places that use T-Mobile to send text messages will pass it on to their customers, which is the middleman between the Brownells and the Vonages and bandwidth.com. There is several different severity levels. There is a tier one, which is a $2,000 fine. This is for stuff like phishing and smishing, all sorts of black hat hacking type of technology and things to steal your passwords, financial information, whatever. That is understandable, and every text message that gets sent out, Vonage will be fined $2,000, or bandwidth.com will be fined $2,000, and they will pass that on to whoever middleman that actually sent the message. Now there is another tier one, which is anything that's not legal in all 50 states or not legal federally. This is stuff like marijuana. Let's say you own a marijuana dispensary and you send out a message about a sale you're having. You won't be fined because T-Mobile has nothing over you. Vonage, bandwidth.com, or any of the other companies that use T-Mobile, they will be fined, and then they will pass that along to whoever their third-party middleman is. So the actual dispensary will not be touched, but the third-party middleman and Vonage and bandwidth.com or whoever will be the ones receiving the fines. This is disturbing because standard capacity magazines, for example, or so-called assault weapons, are not 50 state legal, so you can get fined $1,000 for advertising these through text messaging. Now you have something called Shaft, which is alcohol, tobacco, firearms, basically ATF type stuff. Now, that is a tier 3 violation, which is a $500 fine per message. And that could be very, very expensive. The customer service people cannot confirm that to Jared what's going on, but their media relations people did confirm that they are changing that to me. And they say that they have the ability to regulate text messages advertising illegal things or morally objectable things. I guess that would be firearms. Now, I wasn't exactly happy with that answer because I knew there had to be more to it, so I started pounding the pavement. I started talking to my sources, started developing new sources, and that's why it's taking me so long to get this video up because that was what I've been doing, and sometimes that's not instant gratification. This is what I found out. T Mobile is not really concerned about the firearms portion directly, I should say. They are concerned about it, but it's not because they have some big moral objection to firearms. They are worried about regulators. They are worried that regulators is going to use this as a way of coming down on them and passing more regulations and maybe even fining them. That is one thing. On the federal level, it is definitely regulators. But they are also concerned with state AGs in states that go after guns. For example, New Jersey has sued Eagle Shows, they've sued JFD Supply, they've sued DefCAD, they've sued a bunch of different places. New York has sued a bunch of different places as well. And California has sued a bunch of different places. T-Mobile is concerned that if they allow, like a Brownells, to advertise a magazine, that they will be sued for allowing Brownells to advertise a magazine. So basically, they don't want to piss off the states and get sued. It is a financial consideration for them. So T-Mobile deserves a lot of the blame. I'm not saying that they don't, because they do. If I was a T-Mobile customer today, I probably would not be a T-Mobile customer tomorrow, because they are bending the knee to those that want to take away my and your rights. But I think the people that deserve the most blame is the politicians, are the AGs, and all these anti-freedom people that run these communist states such as California and New Jersey. This is going to have a dramatic effect on the firearms industry because this will prevent companies from dealing with gun companies. And I think that is exactly what these anti gun politicians want. They want to cut off and isolate gun companies such as Brownells, Midway, PSA, and all these other companies and prevent them from advertising through text messaging. Right now, this only affects T-Mobile and the services that use T-Mobile, such as Vonage and Bandwidth.com. There's a bunch of others as well. But I can see this expanding to other companies because once one company does it, it's going to spread to other companies. And these anti gun politicians are like sharks, and this is like blood in the water to them. So they are going into a frenzy over this, and they are going to try to force other companies to act and take the same line as T-Mobile. So this is not a good thing for the Second Amendment. This is not a good thing for you or I. But the good news is it is not going to really affect you or I. It does not affect peer-to-peer text messaging, SMS, all the other different types of text messaging there are. You will not be affected because it only affects business customers. So the third party customers and Vonage and Bandwidth and all these other providers will be affected, but it will not affect you directly. If you're a T-Mobile customer, you will not be fined, although I would look for another carrier at this point. And honestly, there is no plans to roll this out to the consumer side. So as of right now, there's nothing to worry about. Can that change in the future? Of course it can. Will it? I don't know. I don't believe so, not at this point at least. But in the future, it might. But as of right now, there is no will to do that to their customers. So, what can we do? We can complain to T-Mobile. We can switch carriers. We can do a boycott. We can do all that right there. It's not really Vonage's fault, and it's not really Bandwidth's fault either. They are having pressure put on them, but they can also switch carriers as well and go with like a Verizon or AT&T until they do the same BS. So we can push back on those guys. We can also push Congress to do something. Phone services are utilities. So there is a lot of power in Congress to regulate those utilities. And we need to have some type of anti discrimination regulations put into effect to prevent this from happening and to roll this back. We can do it, but it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to take a lot of political will to do it. And it's going to take a lot of pressure from you and I to contact our Congress critters and get them to actually address this. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we just have to squeak louder than the anti gunners. And we all know how they like to whine and how good they are at whining, but sometimes we have to do that as well. Alright, guys, that is it. Stay ever vigilant, stay ever free. Sorry for the video being so late. I wanted to try to get as much information as possible, and I got some. So there you go. Wolverine's mother.